Well, with WrestleMania now in the rear view and the Raw and SmackDown after Mania pretty much in the books, we are left with a lot of questions. Some ideas of where things are going and some ideas of where they're not going. Now, with that said, two things occurred over this past week. One at Mania and both on the Raw and SmackDown after Mania. Now, WrestleMania, we saw Becky Lynch close out the show by becoming the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champions. And on top of that, we saw the Iconics, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, win the women's tag team titles. Now, here's what's unique about all this scenario, or this entire scenario, and how they kind of correlate with each other. You see, Becky Lynch was expected. The Iconics were a wild card in my opinion. Some expected them, some didn't. But already the criticisms are coming in for the Iconics being the tag champs. But why? Why is there criticism? Well, it's very, very simple. See, the Iconics, just like Carmella was looked at last year when she was the SmackDown Women's Champion, to quote or paraphrase Charlotte Flair, what she said in that face-off they had before SummerSlam last year, her, Becky, and Carmella, to paraphrase what the Queen said to Carmella when she was champion, is, you're a diva. They are, to paraphrase, add a little bit of a twist to it, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay are divas living and reigning as champions in a woman's era. That's what's going on here. That is pretty much how fans are seeing it. That, yes, they are charismatic. Yes, they can get you to love them, they can get you to hate them. But in the end, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, in the eyes of a lot of fans, especially smart marks, hardcore, IWC, you name it, are nothing more than divas in a woman's wrestling era. And just like Deluxe Man pointed out when he did his reactions to that edition of SmackDown before SummerSlam, basically this is what WWE behind the scenes and even in storyline is trying to get away from. They're trying to get away from being associated with the word divas. Even though one of their shows, which looks like it's on its last legs, Total Divas, still has the name in it. Now, apparently WWE is building up a storyline where Paige is going to bring together a team to face the Iconics. Now, we don't know who this is going to be. She could reunite Absolution and have Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. She could bring talent from NXT or NXT UK. No one really knows. All we know is Paige, basically from a storyline perspective, is not thrilled at the fact that divas are wearing women's wrestling championships. So whatever she has planned for this upcoming SmackDown, we'll just have to wait and see. But this kind of tells us already that the only reason WWE put the belts on the Iconics were more like for the out of nowhere, shock, unexpected kind of moment. Like, you didn't see it coming. You didn't think these two would win it, but they did. I think that's the only reason they did it, because now it looks like they're planning to take it off them and put it onto another team, whoever that is in the future, either it's this Tuesday on SmackDown or whatever, or it's Monday on Raw. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, as far as this correlates and connects with Becky Lynch, on Raw and SmackDown, she was confronted by Lacey Evans. Now, Lacey Evans, over the past couple of weeks, few months, when her music would hit, she would come out, strut down the rampway or the aisleway, just like a model, a runway model, and then strut back. And that was it. She even did it at WrestleMania. So she ends up doing it this past Monday, after Becky Lynch does her first promo as the champ, and then decides to add a little bit of a twist to it by socking Becky in the face with her finisher, or one of her finishers, the women's right, her right hand. And now, of course, Becky didn't take too kindly of this and attacked Lacey afterwards. But then Lacey retaliated on SmackDown when, after Becky did another promo, as the champ, as she calls herself, Lacey attacked her from behind by nailing her in the face with, it looked like, not just a fist, but her elbow. Now, you might ask, okay, well, how does those all connect? Well, Lacey Evans, like the Iconics, is looked at as someone that has personality, has charisma, has just about everything you need to succeed in world wrestling entertainment, or in the wrestling sports entertainment business in general, except she's not as good as she is in the ring, like, let's say, Becky Lynch. She's not, that good, which a lot of people would agree with. She's not that good. She's not as good as, she's played up to be. Now, some may say that if you watch an NXT, she is good. She's decent in the ring. She's not on the level of a Becky Lynch, but she's decent. And that's because, if you watch NXT, people have seen her in action. But here's where it all kind of connects, guys. Here's where it all kind of connects, and I know I'm about 7 minutes, 10 seconds in, but here's where it all connects. Lacey Evans is about, her gimmick is, she's a Southern belle. She's about class and sophistication, and being better, and basically having the attitude of, I'm better than someone like a Becky Lynch. I'm upper class, you're low class kind of deal. She's kind of like, I wouldn't say on the levels of a female of equivalent of $1 million man, but basically that's how the attitude's being portrayed. That's how her attitude's being portrayed. Is she's basically playing off the fact that she feels that she's better. In fact, a common theme with her gimmick is wiping her hands with a cloth or a hanky or whatever and tossing it on the ground or at her opponents, calling them nasties. So the question is, why is she going after Becky now? And I think sooner or later we're going to find out that it wouldn't have mattered to Lacey whether or not it was Becky or Ronda or Charlotte. She was going to fight the winner. She was eventually going to fight the winner of the WrestleMania main event. And the reason I bring this up is because of the fact that, again, like I said, the reason I bring this up is because of the fact that Lacey is looked at as being, just like the Iconics, just like Charlotte said about Carmella before SummerSlam, she's looked at as a diva in a women's wrestling era. And I know I'm about 9 minutes, 11 seconds in, but basically she's looked at as a diva in a women's wrestling era. And that's the one thing WWE, from a storyline perspective, the women that want to be part of this revolution are trying to get away from the association of being divas. And the last thing they want is divas or diva-like women in the division holding championships when they shouldn't be. So basically, what I see happening here, and it may not be noticeable right now, but WWE obviously knows, I guess, what they're doing, or someone behind the scenes knows what they're doing. And like I said, even though it may not show itself right now, basically what we got going here is it's gonna turn out to be, and again, it may not be like in your face, like so visually obvious right off the bat, but there are subtle hints that what we're getting here is divas, WWE divas versus WWE women superstars for supremacy. That's what we're getting. Because again, look who Becky's first challenger is going to be. Lacey Evans. Look who are the current women's tag team champions. The Iconics. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Basically, it's a very subtle way. It's WWE's, or whoever is booking this, it's their own subtle way of saying it's divas versus women superstars for supremacy. That's what it is. That's why, like I said, the Iconics got the shock win, if you will, at WrestleMania. That's why Lacey Evans is being set up to fight Becky Lynch. It's war. It's basically a silent, secret kind of like war and rivalry between the diva-like women superstars in the women's division and the women wrestling superstars. That's what it is. This is why when Lacey Evans goes one-on-one with Becky, people are going to firmly be behind Becky winning because they can see what's happening. They can see WWE is subtly putting together a rivalry, a feud, a war, a battle of supremacy between certain women in the women's division. Now, I know some of you watching this may think, and I'm about 12 minutes, 2 seconds in. Now, I know some of you watching this may think, oh, that's not the case. Well, let me put it to you like this. Why, if that wasn't the case, then why is Billie Kay and Peyton Royce acting very diva-ish? Why is Lacey Evans acting very diva-ish? And right now, the Iconics are the tag champs, and Peyton Royce is the first challenger for Lacey Evans. I mean, not Peyton Royce, but Lacey Evans is the first challenger for Becky Lynch. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? I'll tell you why that is. It's because this is whoever is booking them, whoever is booking these angles, they're basically secretly booking a rivalry, a feud between the divas of the women's division and the women's superstars of the women's division, because there's no doubt that you can't tell me, that sooner or later we're going to get something down the line where it's a Lacey Evans or Iconics or whoever comes out and basically says that the reason they came to WWE in the first place was to be the next top diva, not the next top women's superstar or wrestler. You can't tell me that probably that will be revealed. That will be the reason. And here's the thing. They've been throwing subtle hints here and there about this potentially happening, about this rivalry happening. Again, you go back to when Carmella was the SmackDown Women's Champion and Charlotte said the line that she did. It's not because of the fact that it was obvious that's the angle they were going with, but it was also obvious because they knew fans saw it as well. They saw the fact that the way Carmella was acting and being portrayed and doing what she was doing, like I said, the way she was acting, being portrayed, and doing what she was doing was pretty much what they were trying to disassociate with, and that's being a diva. And again, sooner or later, we're probably going to get that revelation by one of these women or someone down the line that that's exactly what the case is. That they didn't sign with WWE to become the next top women's wrestler or superstar or be part of some women's revolution. They decided that they signed because they had signed with WWE. Well, I'm trying to say, let me get my words straight here, sorry. But they had signed with WWE to be the next women's, or the next top WWE diva. Like I said, not women's superstar or wrestler. And again, that's probably going to get revealed. That's probably going to be brought out into the open. And like I said, I understand some of you may not think that. You may not think that, but guess what? It's obvious. You look at how the Iconics are portrayed, and some come to the defense of the Iconics and say the Iconics are a lot better than the way they're being portrayed or being, being characterized and all that. And that might be true. They might be better than, in the ring. Athletically, then we give them credit. They have shown signs of that. But the point is the way they're being portrayed right now in story, just like Carmella was, and just like Lacey Evans is as well right now, is they're being portrayed as divas in a women's wrestling era when there shouldn't be any divas, and they're trying to get away from that. That's what's happening here. Why do you think, again, they're involving Paige and having her bring a tag team next week to SmackDown on Raw to face the Iconics? Because Paige is the anti-diva, right? She's basically the main, Lacey is the main foundation, the main reason, not Lacey, but Paige, but Paige is the main reason. Paige, whether you want to admit it or not, Paige is the main reason why this whole revolution started in the first place. She was the foundation along with AJ Lee. They were the anti-divas of WWE, and that's where this revolution began. Because of the fact that they were more about wrestling and doing what you do and basically proving yourself in the ring than just, oh, let's have a bikini contest, let's have this, let's have that. And slowly but surely, other women that were in WWE at that time, like Natalya and a few others, that could actually go in the ring, started to understand and respect and agree that, yeah, we need to focus more on being the best in the ring athletically and not just because, oh, we look good. That's pretty much what the whole scenario is, guys. That's pretty much what it is. And like I said, whether you want to admit it or not, in the end, that's what this is. That's exactly what's going on right now. Is we secretly have a rivalry going on both fronts. Sorry about that. People love to do that, just to interrupt you, just to be jackasses. But anyway. Like I said, you have a rivalry going on both fronts. In the tag team and as far as the main event scene goes for the women's division. And it's a rivalry, like I said, of the Diva superstars of the women's division versus the women's superstars, the women wrestlers of the women's division for supremacy. And I know, like I said, some people may not think that's the case. And you might be right, but it's too obvious to me. I've been a fan for a very, very long time. I've been a fan for a very, very long time. And I can see it. I can see it with my own eyes, what's going on. I've been a fan for a long time. Me and the Swag Daddy and a few others, we've been fans for a long time. We have seen a lot of stuff happening. And just when people think that a certain angle or the way things are going, are not leading to something or don't have nothing in common, that's when you find out they do. That's when you find out that they do have something in common. And it's something that basically pretty much was obvious from the start. Just the way they were booking certain people, you know what I'm saying? Just the way they were booking certain people, it was very obvious from the start. The point is, guys, and I want to say this in closing, and I know I sound like I'm repeating myself, and I apologize for the wind. It's very windy out here today. The point I'm getting at, guys, is just because it doesn't look like it right now, doesn't mean it's not happening. It doesn't mean we're not subtly, in a very subtle, secretive way, it doesn't mean we're not getting something like this, because we are getting something like this. We are getting the rivalry, because like I said, if they wanted to be mostly about the women wrestling and being on equal par with the men, they wouldn't have booked the Iconics to become the tag champs. Okay? They wouldn't have done that. Excuse me. Like I said, they wouldn't have booked the Iconics to win the tag championship. They wouldn't be positioning Lacey Evans to be the first challenger to Becky Lynch. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? The thing is, it's a secret rivalry. It's a secret, subtle rivalry and battle and war for supremacy. You may not see it right now, but it's there and you know it. Again, and here's what you do. You piece together the clues, the hints that you get on what's happening. You piece together those clues and those hints. Okay? You piece together the reasoning, the moments. And mostly, you take a look at the difference on how certain characters act towards each other. Alright? You look at it that way. You look at how the Iconics act compared to Sasha and Bailey, the Samoan Slaughterhouse, you know, Natalya and Beth Phoenix. You look how Lacey Evans acts differently from Becky Lynch, and you kind of get the idea, right? I mean, heck, again, trace it back to SummerSlam, and you see the big difference there. The point is, guys, the point is, whether you want to admit it or not, that's exactly what's happening right now. And I know Chris Rowdy's review. I know Deluxe Man and OTR Essential have to agree with that. They have to admit that's a fact. Whether they want to or not. It's a fact and it's reality. So, really, that's all I'm going to say, guys, on what's going on right now as far as the women are concerned with WWE, and, you know, why the Iconics are now the tag champs, and why Paige is now suddenly getting involved in the storyline. As well as basically, you know, why Lacey Evans is now the first challenger to Becky Lynch and everything. And like I said, you can trace it all the way back to SummerSlam and Carmella rivalry with Charlotte and Becky, and mostly how Carmella was always able to beat Asuka or just luck out against her. So think about it, guys. Think about it. But that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to head into work now, and I will talk to y'all later. But think about that for a moment. It may not be visually obvious now, or apparently obvious, but it's obvious in a very secretive and very subtle